Good morning and welcome. I'm so pleased to have so many with us this morning. The fall meeting is always very special because it includes the announcement and interview with the HR Executive of the Year, as well as the members of the roundtable. Normally we would do this at the end of the day and then a black tie dinner in the evening, but given WebEx and given the conditions, it's great we can do it this way. Some of the changes I just want to notice, normally the constraint is the size of the classroom. So the people that have signed up for this run are 5 times, not 50% more, but 5 times larger attendance. And clearly we have no travel expense, no lines in the bathroom, no worries about weather, no conflicts with the president's debate tonight, and no need to wear masks. At this stage, I'd like to turn it over to Tim Burke, who will take it from here from the HR executive. Tim?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fred, and good morning. I'm Tim Burke. For those who don't know me, I am the Senior Vice President for LRP Media Group and Publisher for HR Executive Print and Digital Products. I oversee those and also our annual HR Tech Conference and Expo. So good morning and welcome. On behalf of HRE, I'd like to welcome everybody officially to the 2020 HR Executive of the Year Awards, which are now in their 32nd year. Of course, this year, instead of being in Boston, as Fred mentioned, we are going virtual. So all of you are familiar with that routine, but we are thrilled to be here. And we are no less excited to honor these great HR leaders. In fact, if there ever were a year to recognize these leaders, I believe this is the year. So I thank everyone for being part of this annual celebration. We presented our first HR Executive of the Year award in 1989. Since then, 31 other individuals have won this prestigious honor, and I am thrilled that we are able to recognize these special HR leaders who put their employees first, focusing on their well-being, which is paramount, especially during these challenging times. And I also would add that you'll hear a little bit, I assume, today about self-being and self-care, which is so important in these times. This year's winners won HR Executive of the Year, and our honor roll inductees are a very special group of recipients, and they join a very special group of honorees. So today, we proudly continue the tradition. I'd like to now turn it over to Elizabeth Clark, our executive editor of Human Resource Magazine, who has the good fortune of introducing our Executive of the Year and our aforementioned honor roll inductees. Elizabeth?
Thank you, Tim, and good morning, everyone. I am just thrilled that you've all set aside this time today from your busy schedules to honor and recognize these winners. As Tim mentioned, it's been a very unusual year. Everything that HR leaders have had to deal with, big companies, small companies, utterly transforming work, just a small task, brought a lot of challenges, and I would just like, on the behalf of all employees everywhere, to thank all of the HR leaders who are joining us today for everything you've done this year, rising to the challenge, innovating, persevering to make this year as good as it could be. We appreciate you and everything you've done. And some of those leaders are our judges. In their precious free time this year, they carefully reviewed dozens of submissions and then gathered, virtually of course, to select the winners from a very impressive list of nominees. As you can see, it's a distinguished panel of judges representing all aspects of the industry. We have 3 former HR Executives of the Year in Lisa Buckingham of Lincoln Financial, Diane Gerson of IBM, and Tracy Keogh of HP, along with Dick Antoine of AO Consulting, my boss in HRE's own, who you just heard from, Tim Burke, Fred Folks of Boston University and HRPI, and Dave Shadovitz, Editor Emeritus of HRE. Thank you, judges, for your time and attention to this process. And now let's meet our winners in this 32nd annual competition. We'll start with the HR Honor Roll. This year we're recognizing 2 individuals in the category of organizations with fewer than 7,500 employees. Our first honoree is a bold leader who is working and succeeding at diversifying both the talent base and the face of leadership at Black Hills Corporation, a gas and electric utility based in South Dakota, where she tells us it's snowing today. Jennifer Landis joined Black Hills 20 years ago, but not in human resources. She started as an account manager in IT, working in HR and other departments to implement training and integrate new technology. But she was so drawn to the work happening in human resources that she decided, with some trepidation, to pitch a business plan for what she could do in the HR department. As she says, "I thought I was going to lose my job for my audacity," but obviously not. The CHRO liked her pitch, and Jennifer soon was working in organizational development, talent management, and corporate HR before becoming Senior Vice President and CHRO in 2017. In her tenure as CHRO, she has led the company smoothly through both a CEO transition and an acquisition that nearly doubled the number of employees at the company. She also developed a world-class strategic talent review process that works to put promising leaders in key developmental assignments so they can build their skills while HR can better assess their capabilities. And her work on talent has boosted the number of women who are officers and board members for the company. This year, the 50-member HR team saw its agility and stamina, quote, tested to the extreme, as her nominator wrote in her application. Through it all, Jennifer led the team and senior leadership through the challenges while remaining focused on employees. Measures included providing pandemic and hardship paid leaves, guiding managers in addressing employee concerns, helping remote workers stay engaged and supported, and creating a team that could provide individual support for employees. Jennifer also has founded a women's resource group that works to recruit, retain, and develop women at the company. She has spearheaded a leadership group at Black Hills, and she works to foster the HR profession inside and outside the energy industry. As her CEO, Lynn Evans, wrote in a letter recommending her, not only does Jennifer possess a meaningful and strategic voice and influence at the executive level, but she also holds the respect of leaders from across the organization, as well as her immediate team and the overall employee population. Very impressive. Jennifer, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm blown away. I'd like to thank Human Resource Executive Magazine and the judges of the Honor Roll Awards for this recognition. I'd particularly, however, like to thank my very talented team of colleagues and HR professionals here at Black Hills. I'd be humbled and grateful by their nomination at the best of times, but I am completely blown away that they took the time and the effort required to submit this nomination at a time when they were and still are making huge personal sacrifices to support our Black Hills team members across 800 communities through the challenges presented repeatedly by 2020. Their nomination is the highlight of my career, and this honor is one I will remember forever. The adage, life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away, is incredibly fitting in this moment. And I'm not usually one who's at a loss for words. I'm grateful to HRE Magazine for the opportunity to share this Honor Roll award with the amazing HR team at Black Hills Corporation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, and congratulations again. Next up, we have our second new member of the HR Honor Roll. This HR leader faced a different challenge when she joined her organization. Michelle McGovern was starting from scratch at the American College of Surgeons. When she arrived in 2012, with transformation on her mind, everything was done on paper. And the HR department consisted of an administrative assistant and 2 temps. Michelle was tasked with not only hiring staff and moving to automation, but was developing a strategic team and a strategic plan to raise the level of nearly everything being done inside the organization. Talent management, compensation, benefits, recruiting, succession planning, performance management, training, and more receive scrutiny and strategic overhaul, if not outright implementation of new programs. Among her notable efforts, we're developing a detailed continuing education program based on 5 pillars: learning, living, connecting, improving, and leading. Participants provide feedback to shape the content, and they are tracked as they move into management positions. She also launched a women's coaching program called Power of 8, designed to boost growth and networking opportunities for women. It has also improved retention. When COVID-19 came along this year, Michelle was well positioned to quickly partner with IT in order to shift the office-focused workforce of about 450 employees to 100% remote. She began a daily email for the staff, organized regular virtual all-staff meetings, and launched well-being and healthcare-focused efforts. Those included recognizing employees on Thankful Thursdays and celebrating families with a graduation video of employees' children. These efforts and more set Michelle apart, says her boss, David Hoyt. The things that distinguish her are her personal values and the way she treats people, executes communication, judges difficult situations fairly, and sees through to do the right thing, he said. Beyond that, Michelle's work in strategic planning, values development, and leadership training, in particular, reveal her largest contribution to the organization's business strategy, he said. Michelle McGovern represents the epitome of the human resources professional. She is a role model. She is a builder. She is a strategic thinker, and she uses the opportunity and advantage of human capital development to meet the priorities and goals of every organization she is a part of. High praise, Michelle. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to share my gratitude and appreciation for this recognition. There are 3 areas that I'd like to acknowledge. First, I'd like to express my respect for my current leadership, Dr. David Hoyt, our Executive Director, and Gay Vincent, our Chief Financial Officer, for taking time during this pandemic to complete an application to nominate me for this award. The nomination alone was sincerely appreciated. Second, for my current team, I could not have developed all the programs that were highlighted in the article without a committed and talented team. They bring energy, empathy, passion to their work. They work tirelessly for our staff and are committed to the HR profession. They not only are hardworking, but they bring joy and genuine enthusiasm to what we do every day. We truly have fun at work. And third, to all of the HR rising stars out there, we have an amazing profession, and this year in particular has placed a spotlight on the value we add to our organization. Know that you matter. Your work truly makes a difference in the lives of those you represent at your company, and I hope you find as much joy in this field as I have. Thank you for this special recognition.
Thank you, Michelle. And now we will move to our HR Executive of the Year. As Chief Leadership and Human Resources Officer at Accenture, Ellen Shook is charged with helping the company's 509,000 employees succeed both professionally and personally. I'm going to let that number sink in for a minute. She's working with and for more than 500,000 people around the globe, with her stated goal of creating the most truly human company in the digital age. No small feat. Ellen worked in a variety of positions throughout the company before taking on this challenge as CHRO 6 years ago. In this role, she has ticked off enormous tasks and made them look pretty effortless. Among them, she led 2 CEO transitions in a year after the death of beloved leader Pierre Nanterme, just weeks after he stepped down for health reasons. After naming an interim, Ellen and a small leadership team launched a unique succession process that helped the board of directors get to know the candidates both professionally and personally, with director immersion days held around the world so directors could get to know candidates outside of the boardroom. Ellen's trademark, quote, rigor, compassion, and transparency, as her nominator wrote in her application, infused the process. And that meant the ultimate selection of Julie Sweet, who we'll hear from later this morning, as CEO was seamless and well received by all. The result during what could have been a tumultuous year was, in fact, Accenture's most successful year in history. That was 2019, and of course, nothing eased up this year. With its global presence, Accenture and Ellen knew before many that the pandemic would upend work in every way. Her response was guided by her core belief that the company's success relies on the health, well-being, and continuous learning of its people. She immediately launched efforts to move employees to work from home, to redesign communications, and to care for her people. Efforts included creating the company's first virtual onboarding program designed around creating connection, launching a holistic mental well-being program to each of those 509,000 employees, and re-upping diversity and inclusion efforts that have long been central to her work, and launching a tech-focused learning initiative as part of a massive reskilling effort. On a broader scale, Ellen also worked this year with fellow CHROs Lisa Buckingham of Lincoln Financial, Pat Waters of ServiceNow, and Christy Pambianchi of Verizon to launch an innovative platform to shorten unemployment during the pandemic by bringing together companies laying off or furloughing employees with companies that were urgently hiring. Called People Plus Work Connect, the no-cost platform launched in just 14 business days and has earned accolades and awards. I imagine you can all see the thread through these efforts. Ellen embodies her core values of compassion, resilience, connection, and humanity, and she works passionately and tirelessly to cultivate them in others. One more thing, Ellen isn't afraid to be vulnerable. When she talks about mental well-being, she shares her own story widely, that she was panicking during the early pandemic, when schools were shut in China, closing soon in Italy, and not far behind in the US. That she was working around the clock and had been for weeks. She wasn't sleeping or eating well or taking her daily walks. I think we can all relate. Luckily, her good friend Ariana Huffington reminded her of what Accenture needed her for. And it wasn't to work to the point of exhaustion. It was for her creativity, her empathy, and her problem-solving skills. All things that required her to take care of herself and to take those daily walks. That was a valuable reminder for Ellen, one that has been paid forward innumerable times, I think, by the fact that she has shared it. With that, I'd like to introduce this year's HR Executive of the Year, an HR rock star, Ellen Shook.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and to everyone at HRE and Fred and the HRPI team, as well as the judges for this truly extraordinary honor. I can't tell you how deeply grateful I am for it. I want to congratulate first the honor roll recipients, Jennifer Landis and Michelle McGovern. I'm really fortunate to be included with both of you. I'd like to start my opening here with a shout out first to my family, my mom, my sisters, my nieces and nephews, who are my biggest cheerleaders, and to Jessie, my daughter, who taught me one of life's most valuable lessons, which is to never leave home without your heart. And to Pat, my husband of 34 years, who's been by my side each and every day to encourage me and support me professionally in a way that I'll probably never really be able to describe to anyone. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Marge Magner, who was our former lead director for Accenture's board. Marge was my sponsor, in fact, who put me into this role. And during her time as board director, she challenged us all to be bold on gender and equality for all of our people. She asked tough questions in the boardroom before it was even in vogue to talk about gender or equality in the boardroom. But to me, she's much, much more than that. She is a role model who has taught me in the most difficult circumstances, you lead as a human being first, with compassion and integrity, as we did when our beloved CEO, Pierre Nanterme, stepped down and passed away. In the midst of this very, very difficult time, her instinct was to ensure that first Pierre's family was taken care of, and while also ensuring the business of Accenture was tended to. It was that moment, truly that moment, I remember sitting in our New York office with her and my colleague Joel, when I realized that compassion is one of the most essential leadership characteristics. And while she's retired from our board, her texts of encouragement, her calls with advice, and her legacy that she's left here at Accenture are always with me. I'd also like to thank my mentor, Arianna Huffington, for not only helping me be better and more resilient, but also all she has done for the well-being of our over 500,000 humans here at Accenture. Our partnership with Thrive Global has been an incredible difference maker in the lives of so many and for our business. I'd also like to shout out two of my colleagues, Joel Unruck, Accenture's General Counsel, and Casey McClure, Accenture CFO. Every CHRO deserves partners like these two. In a talent-led business, it is essential to create practices that are untried and could be perhaps viewed as creating risk. Joel's gift is that he understands that the real risk is not doing new things and innovative things that keep our people at the very center of our agenda. And for that, I am grateful because he truly helps me dream big, but do bigger. In Casey, she understands that unlocking people's potential by investing approximately $1 billion a year in their learning and development truly unlocks their full potential. Thank you both for being phenomenal partners. So, as I was reflecting on the past 6 months, to receive this award at this particular time is especially humbling. I know that every HR person in this virtual room knows and feels what I'm talking about. The responsibility and the privilege that we have to help our people and our business navigate these unimaginable health, economic, and social crises and injustices. I am so proud of the entire profession because this crisis has required us to step in and step up on behalf of the millions of people around the world that we represent and do truly the unimaginable. And I think we owe ourselves a big round of applause. So this is truly one of the only things I'm missing about being in person, because if we could be together, we would hear the thunderous applause that all of you deserve. And it's not just people we're lifting up, but our whole communities. And at Accenture, we call that shared success, where we are creating value for our people, our business, our clients, our partners, and our communities in which we live and work. Elizabeth mentioned what I think is one of the best examples, People Plus Work Connect. That's the platform that connects companies who are reducing their workforce or furloughing employees with companies who are rapidly hiring. And I have had the great joy to co-lead with the three extraordinary women, Christy from Verizon, Pat Waters, who's at ServiceNow and soon to be at Procore, and Lisa Buckingham at Lincoln Financial. Thank you for taking a very dark day and turning it into a compassion project that is making an impact on the livelihoods in over 90 countries around the world. This is where the privilege we have to be in HR really turns into what I think of as an obligation. I've asked this question of myself many times. If not us, then who can help us take all the learnings of this unbelievable and wide-reaching crisis and push through it to create a better future for our own people, our customers, our communities, and our shareholders? This is the moment when our profession shifts from being important to being vital to how the future unfolds. My hope is that each and every one of you can ask yourself the question and wake up tomorrow with fire in your soul to lead with compassion and create change. Compassion is something we actually talked a lot about when HRE interviewed me for this incredible award. And I believe that compassion is emerging as the top leadership characteristics of this time. It's also something we talk a lot about in our HR family at Accenture, all 6,000 of us around the globe. And while my name is on this award, it is their acts of compassion, courage, creativity, and collaboration that I really want to acknowledge and celebrate today. And I share this with all 6,000. And I am particularly want to recognize my executive team, Colin Anderson, Greg Anderson, Angela Beatty, Hillary Bachniak, Fiona Bolton, Angie Burke, Samantha Clark, Michelle D'Amelia, Claire Gracioso, Allison Horn, Andy James, Joanne Kaufman, Chris Klunk, Amanda Lacey, Sarika Mathur, Betty McCormick, Holly Oberman, Rafaela Tampertini, Rahul Varma, and Andrew Vo. I wanted to say each of their names because they are incredible human beings. Each one of you brings your heart and your mind to work every single day to lift up the 500,000 people at Accenture, and I couldn't be more proud or grateful. So as I close, I'd like to circle back to something I mentioned, creating shared success, because I truly think that HR can be a catalyst for this type of positive change that lifts everyone up, not just in times of crisis, but every single day. We don't want to return to normal. We have in our grasp an opportunity that might come only once in our lifetime to create a better, more sustainable, and more equal future for all. And at the heart of seizing this opportunity is a question we can ask ourselves. How can I create value? By leading with values. The next person you're going to hear from personifies what it means to create value by leading with values, and that is my boss, Julie Sweet. I was talking to one of my peers yesterday about a challenge we're working on together. He told me what I already know, that I am lucky to have a boss who I share values with. I'd like to thank her for her vision, her unwavering support, her humility, her courage, and the moral imagination that she brings to Accenture and the world every single day. I was so pleased Fortune recognized her as the #1 most powerful women in business, so the whole world knows what we at Accenture already know. Thank you again for this incredible honor.
Thank you, Ellen. Congratulations again. I know I'm inspired. Next up, as Ellen mentioned, we have the honor of having Ellen's CEO with us. Julie Sweet became CEO of Accenture in September 2019, moving from her previous role as CEO of the company's North American business. Prior to that, she was General Counsel, Secretary, and Chief Compliance Officer for Accenture. Julie also is a member of the World Economic Forum's International Business Council, among other organizations. Julie?
Thank you, Elizabeth. First of all, I just want to thank HRE and HRPI and the judges for the incredible recognition of Ellen and through her team, because it's really so exciting for us to see her recognized for the incredible impact that she's making at Accenture and more broadly. I want to congratulate Jennifer and Michelle. And I also just want to take a moment to recognize all of the HR professionals who are listening. I have the privilege of, as a people business, of seeing the impact that Ellen and her team make, but also because I work with so many companies in what we do at Accenture, is that I am seeing very much what all of you are doing. And before COVID, it was incredibly important because so many companies are going through such change, and that falls on all of you. But certainly the last 7 months have just been extraordinary, and I really do want to thank all of you and recognize you for what you're doing. I learned early on, I came from a law firm where, we were maybe not the most focused on like what HR was because it was small, and as I came to Accenture, and I've learned so much over the years, it's never been more critical than as we sit here today. I have so much that I could say about Ellen, but I thought I would first share a little bit as a new CEO. I just finished my 1-year anniversary and the incredible impact Ellen's had, and then talk a bit about her 32-year career and that impact, and finally end with a personal story that I wanted to share today. So first of all, as a brand new CEO, I took on a very important and ambitious plan in my first 6 months, not knowing what my last 6 months would be like, because we have the unusual fiscal year that ends August 31st. So in my first year, I literally had 6 months of no COVID and 6 months of COVID. And with Ellen and my leadership team, in the first 6 months, we decided to make the biggest change in our history. We changed our P&L. 98% of our 500,000 people had some change, even if it was just which unit that they were focused on. We removed 30% of our management, and 200 of our top 300 leaders changed roles in a single day. All of this was done and designed with Ellen very much co-leading it and doing all of the change management, and we went into it with 95% alignment of our top 8,000 managing directors. And we implemented it March 1st in 6 months. Ellen was absolutely critical to this. 11 days later, the pandemic was declared. And because we moved so quickly, we had the right leadership team, we had the right organization to be able to respond. But just imagine, we went from this enormous change to putting 95% of our 500,000 people at home, including people in countries where we had to literally check on whether they had electricity and bandwidth, and addressing all of the issues that all of you have addressed in terms of sustaining our people. And you had a brand new CEO, a brand new leadership team. Ellen has been at my side and at the side of the leadership team, helping us every step of the way, from a business strategy to a people strategy to being an advocate for our people. And it's been just an incredible year. As I think, though, about her history, there are 3 things that I want to talk about. First, Ellen as a courageous visionary. This was the second time that Ellen has helped a major transformation. And if Pierre was here, he would be saying very similar things, because back in 2014, when less than 20% of our business was digital, cloud, and security, we had to make a massive transformation. And Ellen was at his side as the talent architect. 70% of our business today is digital, cloud, and security. And that 70%, much of that has come from making a bet on our people. And at that time, Ellen was not only courageous, but she gave courage, because she helped our French CEO understand how important inclusion and diversity would be. And we became a leader, setting goals externally. We're now going to soon be, in 2025, gender parity. But back in 2014, this was not a given, not at Accenture and not in the wider world. And it was Ellen's tireless advocacy and helping the entire leadership team understand how important. And in 2015, she was at my side helping give me courage when we decided in the US to be transparent about all of our demographic statistics, including Blacks, Hispanic Americans, Asians, veterans, persons with disabilities, not because we had great numbers, but because we thought, as Ellen coined the term, transparency creates trust. And in 2016, when we had an incredible crisis in the US and we decided that we had to speak about racism, it was a time when I did not have the full support of the leadership team, although I did have Pierre, and Ellen was at my side giving me courage. So she is a courageous visionary. She's also an innovator. You heard the story about People Plus Connect, but I have to tell you, in a company of technology, which has a very high bar, HR leads the way of all of our corporate functions in using technology, including artificial intelligence, so that our 6,000 HR professionals focus on talent and helping us achieve our goals and being compassionate to our people. And that is innovation in a technology company. And finally, Ellen is a passionate advocate for our people. She mentioned our partnership with Ariana. Just prior to COVID, we actually rolled out Thriving Mind, focusing on wellness. Within a few days after COVID, she and Ariana redid that program again, so it was easier and shorter, but it was this focus on wellness beforehand because Ellen helped us understand years ago that we had to be committed to our people's personal and professional success. And that's the lens by which we think about our investments and our benefits. I have to tell you, benefits have never been more exciting than when I drew that connection as a breast cancer survivor working with Ellen about bringing to our people the ability to get second opinions where our people didn't live in places because this was the moment in their lives when they needed us most and we could provide them something. You know, that's when I really got benefits can be very exciting. And Ellen has helped us understand that because she is a tireless advocate. I want to close with a personal story. So I am the first CEO of Accenture that did not start at Accenture out of college. I joined Accenture 10 years ago, as Elizabeth said, as the general counsel. We had a very, very confusing way of ranking people. And I had a lawyer who was negotiating my contract. And Ellen finally asked, may I speak to Julie? I'd never met her. It was all virtual. And because she wanted to try to explain this, because I was going from a partnership to this company. So we got on the phone. And she tried to explain it, and I have to tell you, thank God we changed it by now, but it was really, really confusing, and I still didn't understand it. And Ellen talked about the philosophy of Accenture, and she finally said to me, trust me. This is a place where you can come, you have a lot of trajectory, and you can be many things. And I got off the phone, and I called my lawyer, and I said, I'm just going to accept it. I'm going to trust. I'm making a bet. This is the company I want to go to. And as I sit here in 2020, that was a good bet. And I'm glad I trusted Ellen. But all of you make a huge impact. And sometimes it's that one conversation where you can say, trust me. So thank you, Ellen. You're an incredible advisor, colleague, and friend. And thanks to all of the HR colleagues for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations one last time to Jennifer Landis, Michelle McGovern, and Ellen Shook. And thank you all for joining us today to honor these remarkable leaders. It's really been a thrill.